Alright, last time we discussed what would happen if you have a smaller degree on top and a larger degree on the bottom when you're dividing rationals. Now, let's do f of x over L of x. What does that look like? F of x is a fifth degree polynomial. L of x is also a fifth degree polynomial. Alright, so you got 15x to the 5 something something, and then you got 10x to the 5 something something. Alright, so you can see they're both fifth degree polynomials. Here, let's see it. And when you actually do their division, let's see what we get. F of x over L of x. Crazy stuff. Now keep in mind this, it's actually part of this red is, and part of the green there are the actual asymptotes. Here, this blue one for some reason doesn't graph the asymptotes, but as you can see, they're all the exact same graph. You can see it's going from blue to red to blue to green. It's all the exact same graph. Okay? Now, the blue one is just the factored form. The green one is the standard form. And the red one is just f of x over L of x in symbols. Okay? Now, what is this other one? Why is the purple one the exact same as all of those? What is this 1.5 plus this weird thing? Well, I took the liberty once again to do the actual division. Okay, so when I did the actual division, well, 15x to the 5 divided by 10x to the 5 is just 1.5, and you divide, and then you got this huge remainder. Right, so all of this is your remainder, and you can't go any farther because x to the 4 can't divide by x to the 5. Okay, so your actual answer is just 1.5 with no x's plus all of this. So once again, when you do the division, this is your remainder. So as you can see, if you can do a degree that's on the top and a degree that's on the bottom that are the same, well, the x to the 5s are always going to cancel out, and it's just whatever this number is, 15 divided by 10 will just be your answer, and that's going to be your asymptote. Whatever number's up here is always your asymptote. Let's go back. I'm going to show you that. The very first one, my asymptote was a cubic asymptote right here. The next one, my asymptote was 0, so just y equals 0, so that's just the x-axis. And my third one, the asymptote was 1.5, y equals 1.5. So let's go check and see if Desmos jives with that. So I've got my s of x equals 1.5, there's the line, and sure enough, it does crazy stuff in the middle. It does all this crazy stuff. But when you get to the end, boom, you're approaching that asymptote. Let's go to the other side. And, yep. Oh, see how this one kind of crosses and goes underneath? I'll bet you when and it's going to get closer and closer from the bottom. So I'll bet you when we go to our equation, we'll see that on the left-hand side, the extra little bit will be negative, and on the right-hand side, it'll be positive, because this, on the right-hand side, you can see it's a little bit above the asymptote. On the left-hand side, it goes below the asymptote. So let's check it out. Alright, so we're going to think about plugging in a really big number here, and you're going to get a positive on the top and a positive on the bottom, so sure enough it will be a little bit above 1.5. And plug in a negative number, like maybe a negative 1,000,000, so 15x to the 4 is going to be 15 times 1,000,000 to the 4. Well, that's going to, oh sorry, negative 1,000,000 to the 4. Well, that's going to be positive because negative 1,000,000 to the 4 is positive. Over 10 negative 1,000,000 to the 5. Well, this one will actually be negative because it's an odd power. It'll actually be negative. So this overall thing will be a positive over a negative, and yep, we're going to get a negative number. So it's all the rest here, all this extra stuff here, well, that's not going to have any effect whatsoever, because x to the 4, when you plug in a big number, x to the 4 is going to be so much bigger than x to the 3 that this x to the 3 will seem like it's nothing. Alright, so let's get rid of all that junk so that it doesn't look bad when I post it. So we should have it above the x-axis on the right, or sorry, above the asymptote on the right and below the asymptote on the left, and sure enough, that is what we have, okay? And it could be deceptive, right? Like when you're coming down on this side, it makes me feel like I'm going to come at it from the top. But you have to just plug in a lower number, a very, very low, like negative 100 or something like that, and see that, oh, it actually goes below 1.44. And it comes closer, 1.444, and it gets even closer and closer to 1.5. Okay, but first it goes underneath, and then it kind of approaches later. All right. So that's what happens when you have two of the same degree. So quick review. If you have a higher degree divided by a lower degree, you're going to get this asymptote that will not be a horizontal asymptote. It'll be like a parabola or a cubic, or maybe a line that goes slanted, like an oblique. Right? If it's only degree 1, you're just going to have a straight line. And this right here is your asymptote when you do the division. When you have a smaller degree on top, well, you're just going to get 0 as your answer. So your asymptote will actually just be y equals 0. So that means it's just going to follow the x-axis on both sides. When you have the same degree on the top and the bottom, oh, now it kind of depends on that. When you do your division, what's this going to equal up here? Well, this is always just going to equal this a value divided by this b value. So 15 over 10. Right? And we're going to take a sneak peek at my next one. It's just going to be the reverse. This time we're going to have the one with the polynomial that starts with 10, that's a 5th degree, divided by the one with 15, that's a 5th degree, and we're just going to see the difference. And sure enough, the answer is going to be 2/3, or 0.6666667, and it's just because this time it's the 10 divided by the 15. You're still going to get a remainder, but that remainder is going to be divided here, and that's going to approach 0 when you get really, really big on both sides. So your answer is just y equals 2/3. Now remember, we're only talking about what happens way to the right and way to the left. Okay, so really, I will come back and talk about that one on the next video.